Welcome back to Josh and Kristie Stealing the Internet. I'm Josh.
And I'm Kristie, and today's episode is all about office drama. Let's jump into the first story.
Am I the asshole for not sending my coworker my template after he basically used my stuff in a meeting and didn't mention I helped?
Ooh, that is a trashy coworker. Always give credit where credit is due.
I, 28 male, work on a small team, and there's a newer guy on our team. I'll call him Joe. We sit near each other, and our work overlaps a lot, so I've helped him out here and there. A few weeks ago, he asked me how I put together this weekly report we have to do. Over the years, I've made my own template and a routine that makes it way faster. He asked if I could send him my template file. I told him I'd happily walk him through how I do it and explain the steps, but I didn't really want to just hand over my exact file. It's basically my personal workflow, and I've tweaked it forever. So, I stayed after work, and I spent about 45 minutes showing him everything. I shared my screen, explained where I pull the numbers, order I do things, what to watch out for, all of it. He took notes, thanked me, seemed totally normal about it. The next week we had a team meeting and Joe presented his report for the first time. And I'm sitting there listening like, this is basically my report. Same everything. Even a couple little phrases I always use when I explain the numbers. When our boss asks him how he put it together, Joe said something like, I built a simple structure that made it easier. And left it at that. I mean, no mention that I spent time walking him through it at all.
I mean, has he not been presenting his own projects to his boss, and did his boss ever ask him how he did it and everything? Shouldn't his boss already know, his template and that it's his work?
I don't think there's ever a mention as to why boss asked that, but that could be why boss asked.
Okay, yeah, but it does seem a little crappy of this guy to be like, I just made a system to do it easier.
Yeah, but as the boss, if one of your employees has this template that he uses every single week to give you the numbers, it's very obvious to you that he's using that template, right?
I mean, well, it should be.
After the meeting, I pulled him aside and said, hey, I'm glad it went well, but it felt weird hearing you use my exact structure and wording and not even mentioning I helped you. He got defensive right away and said he didn't think he needed to credit anyone for help, and that I was being insecure for even bringing it up. Since then, he keeps asking again for the actual template file, like it would save time, and I already understand it anyway. I told him no, and said I'll answer questions if he's stuck, but I'm not sending him the file. Now he's being cold to me, and I've heard he's telling people I'm gatekeeping and trying to make him look bad. A couple coworkers think I should just send it because it's a team environment, and it's not that deep. I don't want to be the difficult person, but also feel like I already helped him a lot, and he showed me exactly how he's going to act with it. Am I the asshole for refusing to send the template?
I don't know. Maybe I am just too much of a team player or a people pleaser, but I would have just sent him the template to begin with. Yeah, if it's going to make everybody's job easier, go ahead and share that. I don't care if you've put a lot of work into it. You did that work on company time, right?
That's my opinion for the first time OP didn't share it.
Yes. Okay, I agree with you. I think he should have shared it to begin with, but since he didn't, and then his coworker was such a dick about it, I wouldn't want to share it with him after that either.
Right, once coworker is just like, oh, I just did this on my own. No, you get your own damn template. But unless OP is working in some cutthroat commission environment, it's just a template. If he said that they work in teams, so he should be a team player, is my opinion there. Nobody likes the guy in the office who won't share anything because he needs his job security, so he's making everyone else's job harder. Having said that, though, it also sounds a little bit like maybe new guy is your secret replacement.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, you don't want someone to just come in and replace you.
Because he's asking for your workflow, he's asking for your templates. I might be a little bit suspicious depending on how much his job overlaps. If the company is just telling him to get me to secretly train him without letting me know.
Yeah, because some trash companies will do that.
Yeah, so that's always a suspicion, which does make it hard to be a team player.
And if he knows that's the kind of environment he works in, yeah, then I don't blame him for not sharing the template. I guess it depends a lot on the vibe of his workplace.
It does, right? It depends a lot on how his manager and the overall work environment is. Because his manager asked new guy how he made the template. That could either be manager liked the template and is trying to compliment new guy about doing a good job, or it could be manager very obviously sees that this is a template another employee makes and was trying to flesh out if he had just copied him or if it was shared with him.
Yeah, I originally took that as the boss was impressed and wanted to know how the coworker did that. But you're right. Boss should have realized that this was OP's work if OP was, presenting this weekly as well. Also, maybe I'm just lazy because I do not want to spend 45 minutes helping someone and explaining something to them when I could just shoot them a file and be like, here you go, have at it.
Yeah, that's a good point. I feel like spending 45 minutes explaining how to do everything is way harder than just giving him a template and letting him pass fail after that. Like, you said there's a lot of quirks and stuff that you need to explain. Let him fail at those quirks if you're that competitive.
What does Reddit think? Because I know a lot of Redditors work in much more toxic work environments than us, so they often have differing opinions.
Top comment, not the asshole. If he wants credit for the work, he should, do the work. But like you just said, we maybe don't work in as competitive environments as some other people, because I would say the template is not part of his work. Building the template that you do your reports in is like something you spend maybe 4 hours once a year in to like refine it. And then the rest of the year, your work is filling out that template.
Yeah, he just made a tool to make his work go faster. And I don't see why he's having a problem sharing this with his coworker.
I like this reply to the top comment. Somebody suggests sending a message saying, I saw how much my template has helped Joe, so I wanted to share it with everyone. Please let me know if you have any questions or if you would like to discuss further. I actually do this all the time at work, and I'm seen as a leader, innovator, etc. in my office by management. Most of the time, people don't want to put the time into understanding my stuff, but there is no question about where it came from if they do. Not the asshole, but do yourself a favor. Change the narrative Joe has put out there.
I think that's a really good suggestion. Although, apparently, this guy is so protective of his proprietary template, he doesn't want to put it out there for everyone to use.
Another comment. Don't worry about him. Just tell your boss you made it yourself, and make the file publicly available for company-wide use. That'll prove you made it, make you a hero, and coworker can't say anything negative about the situation. Wins all around. Somebody replied, yeah, the fact that OP is gatekeeping what is ultimately company property makes this everybody sucks here, in my opinion. Being meek and demure doesn't help people like OP.
Yeah, I think you gotta get it out there that this is your work.
I think not the asshole, though. Coworker was really unappreciative of all the effort you put in to help him get the ropes at his new job. Reddit is pretty much in agreement, not the asshole. But get on top of the narrative. Make sure everyone knows it's your template. Will I be the butt face if I demanded to know who reported me to HR?
Can you do that? I think a lot of times, the reports are anonymous for a reason.
I mean, you can demand all you want. I don't know if they are going to tell you. I am in my early 30s and male. In our office, I am known as a bit of a jokester.
Oh no, nobody likes you.
Nothing mean, and I don't go out of my way to prank someone or hurt anyone's feelings. But I have plenty of jokes and give lots of silly nicknames.
Everybody at your office hates you.
There is a newer woman in our office. She's in her early 20s, and she has a 3-year-old. They live in an RV park a few miles away from work, and I've nicknamed her RV Reba.
That is a terrible and offensive nickname.
I don't see the harm. It's just a silly nickname. I've given silly nicknames to most of my coworkers.
You mean you've bullied most of your coworkers?
If anyone complains about it, I just explain I don't mean anything by it. It's just a silly thing I do, and there was no reason for them to be offended.
Okay, there's still reason for them to be offended. They're entitled to feel how they feel about your bullying.
RV Reba wasn't thrilled with the nickname, said it was insulting, but I explained it wasn't intended to be. It was just something silly I came up with.
I hate this guy. Okay, it wasn't intended to be. Yeah, but it is. So you need to stop.
No, but it's just a joke, bro.
I hate this guy.
She asked me to stop using it. I don't use it around her much anymore, but I think it's a silly thing to get upset about, so I still use it around others.
I can't believe no one else has come up with a vicious nickname for this guy.
Asshole Aaron. Well, someone reported me to HR. I got called into a meeting this morning and given a written warning to stop harassing my coworkers. I don't see how this is harassing at all. They're silly nicknames. I asked who reported me, and they said it was not just one person, but multiple complaints.
Finally, people got together and were like, we need to do something about asshole Aaron. I like your nickname for him.
RV Reba and a few others were getting coffee, and I wanted to know who reported me. RV Reba said she didn't know, but was glad they spoke to me about it since I wasn't listening to them asking me to stop.
He's still calling her RV Reba.
Through this whole post, yes.
Even though she said she does not like it.
I think it was probably her and one or two other coworkers who can never take a joke. I want to know exactly who it was, though. A few coworkers said I'm already the buttface and should let it go. But I really want to know who reported me. Would I be the buttface if I demanded to know who it was?
Yes, you are a buttface, and you will be an even bigger buttface if you demand to know. You just need to stop this behavior and then let it go.
No, but they're such fun nicknames.
He thinks he's so funny.
Who wouldn't want a nickname based off of their current living situation?
All right, please tell me that Reddit ripped him a new one.
Top comment, I think you know you're the buttface. Your jokes aren't amusing to others. This has been explicitly spelled out for you. Multiple times from the sound of it. Therefore, you should have already stopped. If others aren't laughing, it's not funny. If it's not funny, it's not a joke. If it's not a joke, your continued behavior is harassment. Stop it before you quite rightly lose your job. To which somebody replied, you can't talk to harassment Harry like that.
Oh, they're giving him other names too. I love it. Asshole Aaron and harassment Harry.
You're the asshole, massively. You zero in on something that someone finds embarrassing and repeatedly point it out to all. You say it's just a laugh, but plainly not for Reba. I'm glad your colleagues reported you. You sound like a horrible person to have around. Another comment. First of all, the whole point of reporting to HR is also protection against retaliation. So, the person has a right to anonymity. Second of all, it's not up to you to decide whether your supposed joke is a big deal or not to someone else. Don't you lack basic empathy to know how to stop if someone doesn't appreciate it? Third of all, do you lack common sense, tact, and even a sense of self-preservation? To know that even if, for some reason, you still disagree that you went too far, you are now in hot water with your company, and your best option is to shut up if you want to keep your job. Fourth of all, do you realize that most people fucking hate the self-labeled office jokester?
That's what I said. As soon as he said, I'm the office jokester, I was like, your coworkers hate you.
Nah, but he's making the workplace fun for everyone.
Nobody thinks a jokester is as funny as they think they are themselves.
So, unsurprisingly, Reddit absolutely does not think that he is funny and are saying, stop giving people nicknames.
I think this guy could get fired and still not learn his lesson.
Hey, if you're enjoying this video so far, consider hitting that subscribe button.
We really appreciate your support, and it lets us know that we should keep making fun videos for you guys.
Am I the asshole for calling an ambulance, which got my coworker fired?
Wow. I mean, if someone needs an ambulance, you should call one. Why did they get fired, though?
I, 27 female, was at a group work training for my job this past weekend. The company put a bunch of us up in a hotel and had us attend a day-long presentation about our goals for the next quarter. For context, we're in sales, it's highly competitive, and the group consists of mostly older employees, with me being the youngest. After a full day of meetings, a few of us decided to get dinner at a restaurant down the street from our hotel. We carpooled, and when we arrived, one of the older ladies, Deborah, 50s, was already there, standing at the bar. We invited her to join us for food, but she declined, and we moved on with our night. I had 2 beers with dinner, so I'm not judging, but as we finished our meal, it became clear that Deborah was plastered. She was stumbling, even though the ground was level, and slurring pretty badly.
Oh, don't get wasted on a work trip. That's a no-no.
As we left, Deborah came outside with us and reached for her keys. I immediately stopped her and said I'd drive her back to our hotel. She agreed, but as she went to grab the passenger door handle, she missed and fell straight back onto the pavement, hitting the back of her head. I don't mean to be gross, but it sounded like someone dropped a carton of eggs.
Oh, no! Head injuries are serious.
I checked, and not only was she passed out, but she was bleeding from her head. Everyone panicked, and I grabbed my phone to call 911. One of the younger guys stopped me and said, "Help me get her in the car. We'll get her room key out of her purse and just put her in bed." I was bewildered and said, "But she has a head injury. She's bleeding. What if she cracked her skull?"
Yeah, like she could have like brain bleeding. If you put her in that bed and she dies, you're gonna be in big trouble. Don't do that. Like, I do think like when you hit your head and lose consciousness, like you have to go to the hospital.
Yeah, if you get knocked out, it's pretty important that you go get checked at the hospital. I'm no doctor, but if you go to sleep with a head injury, don't you not wake up? I'm pretty sure I learned that in school, and some of the other employees agreed with me, so I called the ambulance. Paramedics took Deborah to the hospital and she survived, though she was in really bad shape when I checked up on her the next day. Here's where I may be the asshole. Our managers found out that Deborah was hospitalized for overdrinking while technically at a work function, and they fired her on the spot. Everyone also found out that I was the one who insisted on calling an ambulance. The older employees are all saying I did the right thing and that she could have died, but the younger ones are calling me a snake and saying I got her fired on purpose because she was competition. Am I the asshole?
Not the asshole. You likely saved that lady's life.
Yeah, you can't screw around with that type of injury.
I mean, they kept her overnight until the next day. She obviously had something wrong with her, and she said she didn't look good the next day, so she needed to be in that hospital.
Yeah, this is not like she drank too much and then passed out. This is she drank too much and then fell and hit her head.
Really hard, apparently.
Yeah, that's very different than just helping a drunk coworker to their room. So I think OP is clearly not the asshole for calling an ambulance. The person who is the asshole is whoever told management that she was drunk when she hit her head.
Yeah, that person's a snitch.
Right? Because you could just say, oh, she fell and hit her head, and we had to call an ambulance. And then they can't fire her for that.
Yeah, how did they find out she was drunk as a skunk?
Somebody snitched.
But also, you really shouldn't get wasted on a work trip. So maybe she did deserve to get fired.
Top comment. Not the asshole. You did the right thing. Smashing your head against the ground can be fatal from even small falls. And she got fired for something she did do. And the fact that someone probably would be responsible and call for help was a product of her over-drinking on a job function. For Pete's sake, what's the alternative? Let's risk death or brain damage to minimize the chance of losing a job? Another comment. Not the asshole. Better jobless than dead. You did exactly right.
She really did. Like, that person who was like, no, let's just take her back to her hotel and put her to bed. Like, that's like attempted murder.
A few different people in the comments are asking the same question we are. Who told management that she was drunk at the time?
Yeah, who was it?
OP replied to one of them. The same coworker who called me a snake and said to put her in bed. He went to the managers that same night and told them Deborah got drunk and fell. I found out about it the next day when I came in. Everyone was talking about it.
Wow, so he's calling her a snake, but he's the real snake.
He's accusing OP of trying to eliminate the competition. Sounds like he's trying to eliminate competition. Now they got rid of Deborah, he's trying to get rid of OP.
Yeah, calling her a snitch, and he's gonna make everyone in the office bully her and try and make her quit.
But yeah, Reddit is pretty unanimous. You gotta call an ambulance in this situation.
Yeah, sounds like even though she was the youngest person in the office, she's like the most responsible one there.
Am I the asshole for leading a mutiny against a new uniform policy and getting a guy fired?
Oh, okay. I am totally for a mutiny against a uniform requirement, but getting someone fired, I don't know. Did they have it coming?
You wear a uniform to work every day.
Yeah, but it's not. I just wear scrubs, and I don't even have to wear a particular color. And I actually don't even have to. It's just I don't want to ruin my good clothes in the lab.
I work as a security guard, and me and my team have traditionally worn a typical police-style uniform when on duty. We recently had a new site manager who wanted to change our image, and imposed one of those concierge-style uniforms with a blazer and tie, despite all of us objecting as it is uncomfortable, impractical, and we all hate the way it looks.
Yeah, I feel like security guards should look like security guards. Part of the point of having them is to just deter people. And if they don't look like security guards, is that going to deter people from like causing problems? I don't think so.
I mean, I think that concierge-style security guard uniform is pretty common these days.
I think it depends on how classy of a place you are. If you are a very upscale place, yeah, the security like wears suits and stuff.
Which is what this manager was trying to do. He's trying to update the image of the company they work at.
But also, I feel like it is a lot harder to run and tackle somebody in a suit than it is in a police officer style uniform.
I guess it depends on if OP's doing security at a place where he needs to run and tackle anyone.
I mean, that's the point of having security, is they need to be prepared to take down someone at any moment.
I mean, I guess so, but I think 99% of the time it's just firmly escorting them out. But yeah, go for the tackle.
You gotta be ready to deal with those troublemakers.
The manager told us the uniform change was coming whether we liked it or not, because the one thing he cares about more than anything is presenting the right image. So after we began wearing the new uniform, my team, at my instruction, began to deliberately make ourselves look as gross and slovenly as possible.
Okay, how far did they take this grossness?
Way too far.
Okay.
For example, we would spill food and drink on our uniforms on purpose and not wash them or iron them prior to starting the shift. One guy made a point of wearing his uniform when he went to the gym and worked out before coming on duty, so the uniform was crumpled, drenched in sweat, and reeking.
No, not smelly.
We would drag our blazers through dirt and mud and wear shirts half untucked. When I needed to sneeze, I would openly and in front of clients sneeze into the tie I was wearing and loudly blow my nose into it like it was a handkerchief.
No, there's like being unkempt and making a point, and then there's this, and it's just disgusting.
Also, at the end of every shift, when writing up our reports, each of us would always litter the report with mentions of how bad the new uniform was and how it made the job more difficult. Complaints about our appearance skyrocketed, and the site manager held an emergency meeting where he screamed at us and called us selfish assholes. But we refused to be cooperative, so he was eventually let go because he couldn't manage us effectively. Before he left, he told me I was the biggest piece of shit he ever met for being the ringleader of this whole thing. So I ask, am I the asshole for my actions? I think no, but the fact that he was fired and has a family is the thing that makes me consider that maybe I was the asshole.
Yeah, I feel like you're the asshole. Sometimes you gotta wear uncomfortable clothes for your work. That's just part of your job.
I feel like there are better ways to protest a change in your uniform.
This was extremely unprofessional.
If it's that bad, unionize or something. Like, you apparently are a very organized group. Form a union. File a complaint. Just refuse to wear the new uniform and keep wearing the old uniforms.
Yeah, there's no reason to be so disgusting about it. I'm so grossed out.
And depending heavily on the settings that they're in, could be very good reasons to change the uniform.
I mean, yeah, I guess if it's like a more upscale place, I can kind of understand wanting to make the security guards look a little more upscale. But I do understand where the security guys are coming from. Like, wearing a blazer and stuff is not comfortable.
Top comment, you're the asshole. This sounds like something school kids would do if a dress code had them change over to uniforms.
Yeah, it does sound really childish and not at all professional. If you hate the uniform so much, quit and find a job that doesn't make you wear a uniform.
I don't agree with top comment because I would expect better from children.
Yeah, honestly, I would too. I don't think they would do that.
Like, the kids gotta be awfully young for me to ever expect them to blow their nose into the tie. Somebody replied to that. When every single employee disapproves of one new manager's pointless change, the problem is not with the employees. To which someone else replied, that just means it's time to form a union, not for rolling in the literal mud like pigs.
Yeah, there were so many other options these guys could have taken to get their point across about these new uniforms.
Another comment. Lots of hospitals right now are changing security uniforms because people, especially people of color patients and their visitors, are uncomfortable having people who look like cops in the lobby, waiting areas, responding to behavioral responses, etc. It's unnecessarily stress-provoking, and a blazer and tie wouldn't be any less comfortable. Someone replied to that, dude, if it's a hospital, he's triple the asshole because he was blowing his nose in the tie.
I really hope it wasn't a hospital.
God, I hope not. Having said that, though, I can't think of many security guard jobs where that would be even close to okay. Because he's visible to clients.
Yeah, he's been getting clients complaining about his appearance.
Yeah, so he's not like doing the night shift at like the docks.
I can't believe they didn't all get fired over this.
A few people have that opinion.
Uh-huh.
I like this comment about it. This is why I went everyone sucks here. The manager failed by not nipping this in the bud right from the start. That said, I've known a few good managers whose biggest flaw was that they were too soft-hearted to fire shitty employees. Because even now that manager is gone, I feel like the C-suite or whoever was above that manager might be looking down at you guys and being like, I gotta find a new security company.
Yeah, these people all suck. I don't know if I can trust them to be professional on the job anymore.
Am I the asshole for getting my coworker fired after she kept trying to prove my service dog is fake?
Oh no. Aren't service dogs, like, legally classified as medical equipment? Like, they need to be taken seriously. This lady needs to be fired.
I have a medical alert service dog named Max who helps with a serious heart condition. He's literally saved my life multiple times by alerting before I pass out. I started a new office job 3 months ago, and everything was fine until, let's call her Karen, started her crusade against Max. It started small. She'd loudly announce, "Pets aren't allowed in the office," every time she saw us. I explained repeatedly that Max is a service dog, not a pet, and showed her the documentation. She then started telling everyone I was obviously faking because I look too young to be disabled.
I hate people like this. Young people can be disabled, and there are such things as invisible disabilities where you don't look disabled.
It's always amazing to me that there are still people out there who are like, "You don't look disabled, though."
Yeah, like, have they not learned yet? In this day and age, how does anybody not know about invisible disabilities?
Things escalated fast. She tried to test Max by dropping food near him. He's trained to ignore it. She reported me to HR weekly. But the worst part? She started purposely wearing strong perfume and spraying air freshener around my desk, which triggers my condition. Max alerted 3 times in one day because of this.
Wow, this is like beyond harassment at this point. It's like causing you medical problems.
I think it's just gone into assault now.
Yeah, she's poisoning you with her toxic perfume.
The final straw? I found out she was taking photos of me and Max and posting them in a Facebook group about fake service dogs, asking for ways to expose me. She included my full name and workplace.
Wow, she doxed you.
I took screenshots and went to HR. They fired her on the spot for harassment and creating a hostile work environment. Now my inbox is flooded with messages from her friends and family saying I'm the asshole for getting a mother of 3 fired over a dog, and that I should have just worked from home if I'm so sick.
Okay, not all jobs have the capability of letting you work from home.
Yes, but also, sounds like OP is perfectly capable of working in the office. She just needs a dog with her.
And then that whole, you got a mother of 3 fired. Well, maybe that mother of 3 should have thought about her children before she went and was harassing coworkers and doing stuff that was a fireable offense.
Here's the thing, I actually feel horrible that she lost her job. Her kids aren't at fault here, but she literally put my life at risk with the perfume stunts, and doxing me online was scary. So, are they the asshole?
Not at all the asshole. And what does this lady have such a big problem with dogs? Now, I do understand that there are people out there with fake service dogs, but this one was obviously a real service dog and was trained.
Yeah, OP even showed her the paperwork.
I don't think in the US there is like legal paperwork or like a registration for service dogs.
Well, I don't know, OP says she had documentation and she showed it.
Okay, I somehow ended up on like service dog TikTok, so I learned a lot about what people are allowed to ask and not allowed to ask of people with service dogs. And there is no actual paperwork to show.
Interesting, okay.
Like you could maybe show like a doctor's note or something saying that you require a service dog, but there's no like official registration of service dogs.
I mean, we don't know what country OP is in.
That is also a good point. Yeah, we don't know what country.
But I don't know, I mean, I'm somebody that likes dogs.
Uh-huh.
So even if you brought your pet dog into the office, I would be fine with it.
Likewise, yeah, I wouldn't have a problem with that. I never have a problem with someone being like, this is my dog, you know?
As long as the dog is well behaved, and it sounds like Max is very well behaved because he's a service dog.
Okay, yeah, that is a good caveat because, like, if someone says this is my service dog and they're obviously not well trained and not a real service dog, I do have a problem with that. Because they're just ruining it for the real service dogs and, like, making everybody think, you know, everybody's faking it.
Yeah, the people that are just, like, bringing their pet into the grocery store.
Yeah, I don't like those people.
No.
I love dogs, but that not trained dog should not be in this grocery store and peeing on everything.
Top comment. She would do this to someone else if she hadn't done it to you. It isn't your fault she was fired. It's her own, not the asshole. And I gotta add, it's good that HR fired her right away when you issued the complaint.
Uh-huh.
She was filing weekly HR reports against you, though. Why didn't HR do anything back then?
Yeah, I'm surprised OP didn't go to HR sooner, especially with her, like, spraying perfumes and air fresheners all around her. I would have gone to HR immediately and been like, dude, can we make this a scent-free zone because it is triggering me? And not just, like, triggering me emotionally, like, triggering heart problems, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like OP went pretty quickly after that, at least.
Uh-huh.
I just don't know why HR wasn't maybe a little more proactive and been like, hey, you gotta stop filing these complaints. Maybe they were, I don't know. They could have been having discussions with her about calming down before this. It is also a good indicator of the rest of your coworkers that all the harassing emails you're getting are from her friends and family.
And not your other coworkers? Yeah.
Yeah, your other coworkers seem like they're fine with her being gone. It's just the fact that she then doxed you further by giving out your work email to all of her friends and family.
Yeah, maybe ask HR if they can give you a new email that Karen doesn't know the name of. Also, I cannot imagine being so mad at anyone that I would get my friends and family to harass them.
Someone made a pretty good comment about the doxing. Anyone that messaged you on her behalf, let them know that you forwarded this information to the police as part of the ongoing investigation for the doxing. And actually do it, because a paper trail is the only thing that offers you any type of protection, not the asshole. Also, it's not your fault she was fired. She was fired because she pushed every limit she was given and then went over the line. Not the asshole. You did not get her fired. She got herself fired for engaging in gross misconduct, discrimination against another employee, and violating federal law. You did nothing wrong.
Yeah, not the asshole. This lady has no one to blame but herself.
Am I the asshole for bluntly telling the people I work with that no, not everyone in the office can afford to buy a house?
Yeah, some people can be a little bit out of touch. I'm going NTA on this.
My coworkers are usually pretty good to work with. The average salary for them is around $100K plus. I'm their administrative assistant and I make about $32K.
That is a lot less.
Anyway, some of the things they say are kind of weird. For example, this one woman was shocked that I'd never had any of my clothes tailored before.
Whoa, okay, she'd be shocked. I haven't either, except my wedding dress.
Hem my pants for me, would you?
No, I'd hate hemming pants. I know you've been asking me to do it for like 5 years. I don't want to hem those pants. Yes, I know how to, but it's terrible.
But I like those pants, but they're a little long. I think they're just really caught up in their own reality, you know? Like, in their world, everyone is beautiful, skinny, and rich, with purebred dogs and perfect white teeth. I was helping organize, and someone announced they finally bought their first house. The conversation continued on to them kind of being rude and saying, like, I don't get why people think no one can afford to buy a house. It's not hard. And someone was like, yeah, I can't imagine being in my 30s and still renting. I'd feel like such a failure. And they all agreed.
Ouch.
I don't usually get upset about the shit they're talking about, but I finally had it and was like, I'm 38 and rent. I don't think I'm a failure.
Well, these people probably do think you're a failure because they sound very stuck up and you are just a lowly administrative assistant. That's obviously a failure.
One of them was like, oh, well, we weren't talking about you. It's just that all these people always go on and on about how it's impossible to save for a down payment.
Yeah, because a lot of people out there are making minimum wage.
I was just like, yeah, it is pretty hard. It was obvious the whole atmosphere in the room changed. So I was like, anyway, and got up and left to the main office to get back to work. Later on, one of the other women in the office came up and was like, hey, I'm sorry about earlier. I didn't mean to offend you. It got kind of awkward in there. I said, yeah, it was pretty awkward listening to them talk about how they'd feel like a failure if they were in my shoes. She said that's not what she meant. She actually meant that it felt like I was trying to call attention to the wage gap, like it was their fault. And that if I wanted to better myself, they could help me figure out how to apply to schools and work my way up just like they did.
See, they think she's a failure because she is not as ambitious as they are.
I said a kind of half-hearted thanks. It's been weird in the office since then. I know money is one of those no-no topics, but it's not like it's a secret that I only make what I make. Am I the asshole?
Not the asshole. These people sound really privileged and don't realize, like, how lucky they are to have jobs that pay them as well as they do, and that not everybody can afford to go to school and get a high-paying job like them.
I mean, these days, even going to school and getting a degree doesn't guarantee you a high-paying job.
It really doesn't.
So, they might just be helping OP get into debt.
Yeah, they just sound really condescending and not actually helpful.
And that apology wasn't so much an apology as it was a further judgment of OP.
Yeah, it really was.
Like, on top of calling her poor, they decided to call her uneducated, too.
Everyone in her office sounds very self-centered and unaware of the realities of the rest of the world.
Top comment, not the asshole. You called them on their snobbery directly, not rudely, and they were rightly embarrassed. Turning it on you with condescending offers to better yourself was an extra helping of poo. Your coworkers are pretty insensitive.
Yeah, I'm not going to argue with that.
Opie replied, the better myself thing kind of stung, honestly. I know I don't make a lot of money, but I'm really comfortable and happy in my life. Not everyone can be a computer programmer, software engineer, digital marketing goddess. My daddy always said the world needs sandwich makers.
It really does. And you really got to appreciate the people who do the less impressive sounding jobs. Like, we need those people.
Yeah, as someone whose full-time job is now YouTube, I am far less useful to society than somebody who makes sandwiches. The deal is, privileged people are usually uncomfortable being faced with it. They like the idea that whatever position they have is earned, and that anyone else could have pulled themselves up by their bootstraps and achieved the same. And the flip side of that, of course, is that people who haven't earned it aren't unlucky or not afforded the same privilege. No, the reason must be that they don't try hard enough. The privileged were born on third base, but think they hit a triple. Not the asshole, I used to work for a doctor's office that raked in $10K in payments on a slow day. I was a lowly clinic assistant earning $20K a year. My CEO doctor was charging $500 an hour for his time. In fact, most everyone I worked for was far, far richer than we were, and they never had the absence of mind to point it out so bluntly that they would feel like a failure. It's crass, it's insensitive, and it's mindless to say something so grating in the workplace. If you're going to talk, I'm a firm believer that one should be mindful of who they are around. Or just don't say it in the first place.
Yeah, I think this was something that didn't need to be said at all. Like, just congratulate your coworker on their new house and drop the discussion. We don't need to talk about how people who don't have a house are a failure. That's just rude.
Yeah, their mom really needed to teach them that old, if you can't say anything nice, don't say anything at all. But yeah, Reddit agrees, OP is not the asshole, and a lot of people are saying you're very underpaid for your job.
Yeah, she really is underpaid. And like, can she get hazard pay for just like the emotional turmoil of working with the people of the quality of her coworkers?
Right? I think that alone means that she deserves it.
That's our last story for this episode of Josh and Kristie Stealing the Internet.
Thanks for watching. Hit that subscribe button and we'll see you next time. Get back to work.